another book review, and we got The Invisible Influence. I have another book of Jonah Berger's called Contagious. I haven't done the review on yet, but just know that that's on its way. That was definitely on the Nipsey Hussle recommendation list. And this book right here it's powerful. At first, I thought it was gonna just kind of tell you the hidden forces of influence so that you can have them. And that kind of sounds very basic enough that I was telling my friends, like, oh, you should read this book. I was only like a paragraph or a chapter in, and I was like, you should read this book. It'll help you out with understanding influence. And then my buddy replied, nah, I know how to influence people like that. That's something I already know. And then I realized that this is more so about the stuff that you don't know already. And the reason that is because socially, people kind of influence your decisions. And it's easy to tell when your friend was influenced by his peers, or like it's easy to read that, like, if you're doing experiments such as ones that happen in the book, like letting people know in a building that a particular neighbor saved so much money or so much power in a given time, that it would motivate you to kind of do the same thing. And those are easy to see. You can read a meter and be like, oh, once I told her the information, she had a substantial less usage, or she saved a substantial amount of money. That is very easy to see, but there's other influences that are hidden between you and your social circles, where you're not able to see that at all, and you might not even be able to tell that you're being socially influenced. And I mean, it happens in all walks of life. As far as, like, they did an experiment where they go to this school and they kind of make a certain amount of appearances between students and stuff, and then they ask them, oh, out of these people, who's more attractive? And then the kids don't know how many times each one of these people attended the class, but it just so happened that the one that they thought was more attractive was the kid that showed up more times to the school, which was just the more familiar person. Like, familiar was more beautiful to them. Rather than someone who just showed up to one class or to no classes, they were the least attractive. So those little influences that you don't even know, you think in your head, nah, I like that girl, or I think she's attractive because I think she's cute, or I think she's funny. This kind of prove that wrong, that you are being socially influenced, even at your job, even with the people you spend 8 hours with. Like, if you're conjuring up relationships there and you're not really aware of what's taking place, you might end up falling into a social influence that you never thought you were going to step into, such as marrying your coworker. Most people spend hours a day at work with their coworkers, so it kind of becomes the hot spot for where you're meeting, or kind of it's the person that you know the most. So it's not more so that you love them the most, but you're more familiar with them, and that's kind of where that experiment came. They do different stuff, but it's really influential on, like, just your surroundings. It talks about the neighborhoods, about building projects and stuff, and how people in these high poverty areas are more likely to have less money, income, less education. And then they even did the experiments of people moving out of these low income areas. If you moved out of them, you were more likely to go to college. You were more likely to earn a higher salary when you find your career. And then they even did it if you move early. The earlier you move, the more that increased. So if you moved at 10, you might only make $300,000 a year. If you moved at 8, you might make $500,000. So it's like, these influences are always shaped, and that's just us. That's here being in the United States. You get to find a neighborhood. It's definitely in your budget, so you buy it, and then all of a sudden you realize that stuff's just not. Maybe you don't notice because these are hidden influences, but you're around other people who have similar socioeconomic statuses as you, and it doesn't ever increase your income. You don't ever get the better hand laid out for you. But if you go to higher income areas, it just kind of spells it out for you. There's just ways that you're able to do better for yourself. And you can see that on the world stage too. People come to America because they want to be in a better socioeconomic place. So America is obviously you know, has all its political problems and stuff, but it's definitely a place where you can find financial freedom, you can find economic gains, and it's most likely going to be a higher income level than the other country that you came from, or you're probably going to be at a higher status when you move into a less poverty area. So that's just kind of some of the things that they discuss in this book. Most of it is regarding social influence, not independent influence. So I mean, you really got to like pay attention, because you think you know yourself, or you think it's really easy to see other people, but you really don't know why you're making these decisions. So this book helps out with why your behavior is shaped that way. Anyways, Jonah Berger, Invisible Influence. Hit the link in the bio if you want to go buy this book. Come back for next week. I'll have another book review, and then go check out those other ones that I did. Subscribe, comment, but don't forget to subscribe. You.
On theeasyplaylist.com.